I'll let Martin introduce himself.
Hi there, so I'm Martin. I work for Ovo Energy. I'm a developer tooling specialist and work in the developer and engineering space. I've worked at Ovo now for about 8 years. I started in the contact center and I worked my way through into tech support. From tech support, I saw an opportunity. There was a lot of a backlog around the sort of Jira management, Jira administration. I did some training and understood where I could offer value and really grabbed into the offerings that I could do, building out and offering support to people across the business. So over that period of time, I worked with HR, I worked with finance, I worked with engineering, I worked with tech support in kind of revolutionizing their use of the Jira and Atlassian stack, and helped build out some of the biggest service desks that we use today. So to give an example, the tech support service desk, actually, I think they do about 2,000 tickets a week now. So that was sort of an entry into service management. Following that, I joined the developer experience team, and we've now become more of a platforms orientated team, but we still use service management. This time last year, there was an announcement that Atlassian were going to be introducing the virtual agent, and I saw that as an opportunity to test out how we might use AI in the business. Our customers are engineers and developers, so I spent some time understanding how we might use the virtual agent to its best ability. We all use Slack as communication, so it was a perfect opportunity to try out a tool like this. We'd already built a lot of our operations through Slack, so we had automated bots who would offer access to platforms and services. We also dealt with incidents and issue reports through a single channel. So the virtual agent was really a perfect solution for that. We introduced it. It was really easy to work with. We pointed it at the channels we needed for testing and also for our inbound interactions. And then from there, we just started analysing what we were getting as requests and build it out further. But yeah, I think that's a sort of brief introduction.
I think that did the introduction of you, the business problem, and a few bullet questions.
Sorry.
Which is absolutely fine. It's great to have somebody on the stand with me who's got such enthusiasm to talk about what they've done. Just because this is going to go out and it's going to be recorded, we better say who Ovo Energy are.
Yes, good point.
We didn't make the point of actually saying Ovo Energy are.
So we're one of the biggest energy providers in the UK. We serve 5 million customers, and we're working with propositions that we offer to customers to help them reach Plan Zero. So reducing their carbon emissions and helping them understand how they can get on that journey together. So, yeah.
And I'm one of their customers. So you talked about the announcement drove you to adopt it. But we never adopt anything without a business driver. So what were you trying to achieve other than having a wonderful new tool to play with?
I identified when I joined the team that we didn't actually have a service process behind helping our engineers and developers. And because I came from the background service management, I understood that we would need that to be able to help them effectively, but also be able to have some kind of audit trail. So the first thing I did was introduce service management, and then I started building out the processes behind it. We inherited a lot of our operations from a team that left us as part of our sister company, Palooza, and they gave us all of the things that we are using today still, but they needed a lot of kind of adjustment or care given to them, but also we inherited all of their knowledge, so I used that as part of the virtual agent. That's what the virtual agent draws from.
So if I was to summarise that, it was taking the knowledge you already had, building that knowledge up, improving it, and making it more easily accessible, and using it to feed the AI tool to make sure it gave the right answers.
Exactly. It actually helped with our internal knowledge management process as well. We found that the more that people asked questions in the channel, the more we identified gaps in our knowledge, where the knowledge was incorrect, and other areas that we could improve on. So what we did is start building processes around there. So if we did see that there was a missing part of the knowledge, we would update those documents. It was actually a really quick way of doing it because we'd have a ticket and we would use the link in the background of the ticket to create a compliments page, and then we would take it from there.
So continual service improvement.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
high speed service improvement as well.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So what would you say your big story of success is?
I think continuously improving the offerings that we have back to engineering. So we've seen an increase in their ability to operate quickly. We've been able to provide them with services or solutions to their problems in a really quick way. So the virtual agent responds incredibly quickly within a few seconds. But we've also seen areas that we can improve, and we've been able to constantly analyse that. And,
So improvement,
definitely.
I was going to put what's the story of failure, but I thought, no, that's not a fair question, because we know that they're not failures. They're things where we learn a lesson and we improve.
Exactly.
So what would you describe as the key lessons that you've learned from this?
So I think it's definitely that if you put in, if your knowledge isn't up to date and you aren't putting into the virtual agent specifically information that it can find that's actually useful to the end user, it really does highlight that. And that was one of the bigger challenges we had at the start, is that people were asking questions and the responses were a bit unaligned, because we found that the agent was picking up on tasks or steps that the admins would take. So we had to remove that information from it and just provide the knowledge and information that was relevant to the customers, rather than keep our whole process in one space. And so that was the only thing I think that was a lesson learned, really, that we had to separate those things. But it made sure that we had the knowledge for the actions taken by us in one place, and we were continuously improving that, because we were stepping through those processes and actually had to provide less information to the end users and our customers. And that was a really good experience to have, I think.
So that goes back to the people, process and tools.
Yeah.
You had a challenge that your processes relied heavily on the people to know and interpret the information. And so the tool exposed that process failure, because it was saying, hey, I know this.
Exactly.
This is what we know. There you go. And the people were looking at it and going, I don't understand this. Is that the sort of challenges you had?
Yeah, totally. And I think as well, like, from not having, kind of as much of a service management focus before, it really flagged up those areas where we could build, intents and actually build automations that supported, those more complicated workflows that we were struggling with before. So one of the things, do you want me to give an example of one of the things
absolutely.
that I built with?
Examples are wonderful.
Yeah, so through some analysis of the main tech support desk, I identified that people were requesting GCP projects, so Google Cloud projects, and they were all going through the main service desk. So that's a very busy service desk. It can sometimes mean that person was having to wait up to 2 weeks for a new project to be made. And also as well, there wasn't really much conversation had around the reasons for that becoming the solution for what they were going to be using it for. So I approached IT. We worked out that it would be beneficial for us to take over that process completely. My idea was to make the virtual agent the entry point for people to request for a new project. It gave us that opportunity to have that conversation. So in Slack, we'd ask them what they were using it for. We'd do some sanity checks, that type of thing, which weren't done before. But also as well, they got an instant response. What we would do is we would take their request, we'd get them to confirm the project name. We'd also validate that using regex, because Google have some rules that you have to follow before you send this information off. And then from there, we'd use automation to send that information off to build the project. So it was a fully automated end-to-end process that would be done within a few minutes. So we took it from a 2-week process, which then required a lot of support after that, to a 5-minute process that we'd already understood what the use case was. So we were able to offer that follow-up support.
Yeah. So off the back of that, that talks nicely to one of the talks I'll be doing in the future, which James is in the audience from Happy Signals. And that feedback loop is super important in terms of understanding the impact upon a person's day-to-day activity and how quickly they can get back to their work. So let's talk a little bit about the future. And you've already said you're looking towards a brighter future. So what are the guiding stars that you're looking to chase and to come up with in the future?
I think one of the challenges that we've had as we've kind of grown as a business is that we've still got that startup mentality brick, where everyone's sort of building things in silos, and there's some choices made by different teams that might not align with the vision of the business or vision of engineering as a whole, and those kind of things you discover along the way. But if we were able to align that and give people the tools that they need out of the box, I think that would massively improve the experience for people joining and becoming part of a project that may not have even begun to exist yet, and building those ideas from scratch, but giving them that guideline and the guardrails that we weren't able to do in the past. I think that will be the sort of future of what we're looking to achieve.
So this was just an introduction. It wasn't meant to be a great in-depth conversation, but hopefully we've triggered a few thoughts and things for people to take away and accept those in that respect.